What's going on, everybody? Dave Mitchell here, and welcome to Fan of Trains, episode 16. You guys want to say hi?
Nice. Salutations.
By the way, hi, Cass, in chat.
Hi, cast in chat.
Yeah, the hi, Cass meme.
Hi, cast meme.
Yeah, like...
Is it the hi?
Oh, you mean hey, hi, cast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean this? Hey, hi, cast.
Yep. Hey. Alright. You guys remember what I was talking to you about earlier about Warren Camp in California?
Camp or Roaring Camp?
What? The second one, Warren Camp. Ugh, my jaw cramping up trying to say it properly.
That sounds like war in a camp.
That's a war camp.
Nope. But you remember the tour railroad right there in Santa Monica?
Santa Monica?
Or not Santa
I
Monica.
said it was Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, I meant my bad. Santa Cruz.
Santa Monica's nowhere near there.
I'm talking about Santa Cruz. Right there near San Francisco.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
right
it's
next to
by San
Fairbanks.
Jose, but
They're trying to do a fort abandonment on a tour and freight railroad that it's still hauling freight, and the town is not having it. Because that railroad...
did we go over this already?
I forget about the live stream got screwed up earlier because the internet went out on my laptop.
Alright.
But the town is fighting it all, and technically they got the board to rethink, so they got a little bit more time. Hopefully we get a chance, but a lot of people are hoping that a lot of the messages came in to get everybody rethinking about it. If you guys know it.
Okay.
But yeah. So, how everybody have anybody caught any trains this week?
Nope.
In real life,
I don't really go rail fanning. It's super cold outside. Exactly.
Heck,
I want to be taking myself out.
Here, Jane, you guys would probably see me rail fanning in the snow. I would love to try to do rail fanning in the snow. Catch some trains in the snow with all the photos.
Because you might be standing there for hours and you might get frostbite.
Heck, I will be
It
wearing
looks nice.
5 layers. I'll be wearing probably about 5 layers of clothes.
Yeah, but it's hard to operate a camera, especially if it's your phone with gloves on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have one of those fancy cameras.
My wife have one. My wife have one, and I'm thinking about getting the same type that she have, but that have like Bluetooth on it, or not Bluetooth, but where I could connect it to my tablet without having to transfer SD card, like I do with my other camera.
Like Google Photos backup or something?
No, something else. I can't remember what it's called, but it's something sweet that I was thinking about. But yeah, let's get back onto Warren Camp. They got a narrow gauge and a standard gauge. The narrow gauge is iconic because of where it rotated. Heck, we nearly lost it back in 2018 from that wildfire that they had. Thank God that it did not destroy Tour Railroad. And their standard gauge is kind of iconic for what it is. And they're trying to landlock it and abandon it. Trying to do a fort abandonment on it. And what I said earlier, down to not having it. Because a lot of people are pissed off that these people are trying to abandon the railroad. Heck.
Now remind me who and why was trying to abandon the railroad?
The RCC.
RCC, what's that?
I don't know what it is. I'm trying to figure out what it mean, but it's a group that are trying to do the for abandonment on the railroad.
That's weird.
But
what did they do?
I don't know, but they're trying to turn it into a trail, but the town is not having it. They don't want the trail because they know what it can do. They're saying fuck no, you know?
I don't know what this RCC is
the
doing.
RTC.
And why? RTC?
Yes.
Alright.
Well, they've been trying to take advantage of the coronavirus, trying to use that, and also when they had the wildfire back a couple years ago that damaged 2 train bridges. So they're trying to use all that to screw over the tour and freight railroad.
I don't know what they would have to gain from abandoning the railroad.
I don't know why, but it did dumb. I guarantee the people who are doing it hate trains, you know?
That makes no sense. The people who hate trains for the sake of hating trains, they go to Reddit and complain, or they get mad when they have to wait at a railroad crossing. They don't try to force an abandonment of the train.
Well, some of them will try to work up this is screwed. I have seen people try doing it. There are one in... Back a couple of years ago, someone tried to abandon a railroad in Myrtle Beach County because they hated train. Did not work well for them because when R.J. Corman came in to rebuild the line, they tried to stop them. They backfired. Worse yet, we had to pay R.J. Corman $1 million because of a $1 million fine. And that was here in South Carolina.
Just for the sake of hating trains.
Yes.
That sounds
it's
too stupid to be real.
I know, but it is.
Specific.
VC but text.
Yeah. This reminds me of the video. This video. I freaking hate trains. I know, but Jane is it that. It's something that the guys in the R.J. Corman Trout and sub talk about with a Facebook group that I'm a part of. And they talk about the douchebag and humiliate him for his failure for what he tried doing to the railroad. Well, I'm glad the dude deserved it. He was a total douchebag. He tried to screw up a railroad that is actually bringing in business to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Like, literally, did this short line is bringing in money, and I mean money. So, literally, the dude had karma coming to him, and heck, he was actually a millionaire. He had over $24 million, and he had to pay $1 million fine for shit that he did. Heck, he actually talked about setting the locomotives on fire before. He actually brought that up. That was the other reason why they did the $1 million fine. But guys in that Facebook group talk about this douchebag and how he was a total a-hole. It only in the Facebook group, but nowhere else. And heck, because he was running for senator of a county, they kept it on the down low, you know? That's saying something right there. But yeah. Hey, what do you think about California finally getting that second half for their, environmental study to prove for the Los Angeles section? What do you guys think about that?
Where'd you hear that from? Good, they're making progress.
They are. And Tina, they won't have train running until 2033. Ha! That's a decade from now.
Didn't they scale back the project so that it could be completed in a reasonable amount of time with
a
budget?
Yeah, but they finally got the second half approved. The one to Los Angeles, to the Valley. They finally got that approved.
But California High-Speed Rail is split into like 8 different sections.
I know. That's why I'm trying to figure out what the heck going on.
And you're saying there's 2 halves.
We got spammers.
What?
Spammers.
Wait, I was still with my friend. Wait.
But I know, but they approved the environmental study on the area that they want the line in. They already approved it about a week ago. Heck,
Okay.
even Dimitri had started talking about it. If you looked at his video from earlier, yesterday on Saturday morning, he did brought it up.
No, he didn't. It was a meme video, and it was about Florida.
No, not that meme video. He did another video after that a couple hours later.
I didn't see this.
The video is 15 minutes long, man.
Oh, I guess I didn't really care. It was uploaded 13 hours ago.
Yep.
That wasn't yesterday. That wasn't yesterday, my guy.
Dude, it's Sunday now. It's Sunday now. It's
still Saturday Central Time.
Oh,
wait, you're in South Carolina. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm a day ahead. I'm a couple hours in the future, guys.
No, you're just 1 hour in the future.
Can you get my tablet, please?
1 minute, I gotta pat my wife her tablet.
Thank you, David.
1 minute. There you go.
I forgot it was 11.
But yeah, but it's crazy. Because I watched the video all the way through and some crazy shit is happening. Heck, Texas bought a mall that they're going to tear down to build the first station on for Texas Central.
Which station?
They bought one of the malls, an abandoned mall that they're going to tear down.
The Northwest Mall in Houston.
Yeah, they're going to tear that down to build the first train station on.
Yeah, that's old news.
I know, but the thing about it, them dumb NIMBYs can get effed up now.
No, we're still at the mercy of NIMBYs because we're currently dealing with Texas Central versus James Frederick Miles in the Texas Supreme Court. We got oral arguments done in January, but we still have yet to hear from a decision. They could still very well rule in favor of Frederick Miles. And if that's the case, Texas Central's not happening.
Well,
so don't think the battles or the war is over because it isn't.
I know, but here, the Jane that will throw it out because the Jane that will throw it out a window because he run an oil company, a natural gas company.
No, he did. No, wrong. James Frederick Miles was a landowner located in Leon County.
I'm not a landowner.
He owned property that Texas Central wanted from him. It was a piece of forested land that he used as hunting grounds. He'd never owned an oil company. It was land he inherited from a family member.
Oh wait, it would not him. It would not him.
Shit, you fucking liar.
It would not him, man. It would not him. It was another guy that is helping him. It began with a B.
Backtrack. Oh boy.
There a guy that is fun and trying to chop it. Watch Demetrius video.
Obvious,
dude, for the love of God, watch Demetrius video. Watch his video. You'll see what I mean.
No, we'll actually do our own research and follow the case that he won't follow.
One, I watched Demetrius video. I keep the case in, and here, funny thing.
I watched the actual hearings as they were happening, the day they were happening, because they were live streamed at the court.
All right, whatever.
You get your stuff from secondary sources. I get mine from primary sources.
So primary sources are not always right, man.
No, yes, they are. Well, okay, they're not always right, but primary sources are like actual records that are kept. So, like, when a primary source would be like the first book ever written, or like radiometric dating. It's the strongest evidence we have. Secondary sources is just simply off of the primary source. It's the first part of a game of telephone. So primary sources, by definition, are more accurate than secondary sources.
Well,
I do this a lot
You're
of
just
meetings,
wrong
so
on every conceivable level when you say that primary sources can be wrong as if secondary sources are any better.
I know. But, guy, thing that I'm
No,
saying...
you don't. No, you don't. You've proven for the past, 3 minutes that you don't know.
Can you just please hear me out and let me say what I'm trying to say? One, they're going to have to face this generation because we're not going to put up with the landowner shit. Like, our generation is going to tell the landowner to F off. Just think about
It's not up to our generation. It's up to the generation of the court.
Well,
This isn't a ballot initiative.
Well, no, but I'm holding my freaking snorkel piece. But I do think we're going to have a tight battle here with Texas Central.
We already are in the courts.
I know, but
Excuse me.
Biden can come in and swoop it all up. Because this would be part of the
It's
bill.
state laws, not federal laws.
But here, Jane, if you hear about this, he's going to really go down, you know?
Why? I think he already has, and he probably knows that this is within the jurisdiction of the state of Texas and not of the federal government. And unless if it gets appealed to the Supreme Court, it won't go to the federal government.
Mm-hmm. It almost did that one time.
What do you mean that one time?
Back in 2019, 2020.
Which case?
I can't remember what case it was, but it did happen.
There was no case.
Demetrius brought it up. Demetrius brought it up.
Who brought it up? What are you talking about? The Grimes County case was struck down by an appeals court in Houston. The James Frederick Miles case was overturned by the appeals court in Corpus Christi, and then he appealed to the Texas Supreme Court.
All right, but yeah, but
None of this went to the federal government yet.
But I do see 50-50. This thing turn out any way it can.
I don't think so, because the law that they're arguing for in the court is in the Texas statute and not the U.S. statute.
Well, the statute that they're going with is Texas. Saying that they're going. Val, I'm
Sorry.
Oh God, my wife did something funny.
Yeah, you're getting destroyed with facts and logic.
No, she's looking at something else. But what I'm trying to... Oh, I see what you did. Sorry, Chicago Rail fan.
Wait, what?
Look, Val didn't nuke you, man. Sorry.
Wait, what'd she do? Hold on.
Oh. Sorry, Chicago Rail
Is this
fan.
on the live stream?
Yes.
Fuck you, Val.
Oh.
Or Phil.
Sorry. Oh God, there we'll go. But what I'm trying...
Same to you, Chicago Rail fan.
But here, Jane, they can turn out any way it can.
Same to you.
No, really. It's either the court rules in favor of Miles or they rule in favor of Texas Central.
Well,
There's no in between.
Well, the thing is, they're going on saying Texas Central is not a railroad because it don't have trackage yet.
Yes. That's what they were arguing in the court.
But that would he going with too. That would be throwing out right there.
Well, okay. I wouldn't say no, because you're not technically wrong, because initially the Texas Supreme Court rejected James Miles' appeal to the court, and Texas Central thought that the legal battle was over. And then James Frederick Miles submitted a petition to the courts asking if they wanted to review the case. Normally, when this happens, the court just rejects it again. But in this case, they thought it was special enough to actually bring it to court. And that's why the case is at the Texas Supreme Court.
Well, that because it had to do with money because he got a pal in the oil business.
No.
Let me look it up. I'm looking it up right now on my phone.
Is not in the oil business.
It's not.
Stop.
It's not
false
him.
To say otherwise.
Chicago Rail fan, wait right there. Let me, because I'm trying to.
You might be thinking of like the guys behind the fucking Texans Against High Speed Rail thing, because I know there was that one guy that worked for Merrimack Manufacturing, but that's not Frederick Miles. That's a different guy.
1 minute, I'm actually on the video right now.
Was it Lehman? I think it was. I know Lehman was part of the opposition, but I don't know if he's on the board or if he's like in a different position. I don't really keep track of that.
Hey, David, why don't you watch Ark's video on that to clarify that?
Yeah, you keep saying that James Frederick Miles is part of the oil industry, but he's not. He's just a landowner that is disgruntled by Texas Central. He doesn't have. I mean, sure, he might get
Ben Riemann. Ben Riemann in a name
that support oil, but the truth is, all they're really paying is legal fees. That's pretty much it.
It's Ben
The
Lehman.
actual court is not as influenced by money as you think it is.
Chicago Rail fan, it's Ben Lehman. You hear me?
Yeah, it's not Miles.
Ben Riemann, he is the oil bearer, or the one who runs the oil company.
Well, he doesn't run it anymore. He used to work for a company called Merrimack Manufacturing, which did produce parts for the oil and gas industry.
Well, he
doesn't work for it anymore. He left the company. It says right on his bio.
Well, kicker is he one who actually helping in the case.
No, I don't really see him by any attorneys or by Miles. It seems like it's basically Miles and his attorneys against Texas Central and their attorneys. Like this actually, the only thing that Texas Against High Speed Rail can really do is rally support and get money and send petitions to government officials.
Well,
they don't have as much influence in the court as you think they do.
Well, the kicker is there are more people in support of the high speed rail than there is not.
Is that going to matter to the court?
Hey,
they've gotten equal feedback from both sides for the mentions.
I know in case if Texas Central, if they want, they did go around or build a tunnel right under his property.
No, they've already finalized the design. If they wanted to go around his property, they would have chosen one of the other 4 lines that they were considering, but chose instead to go with this one.
Well, if I went to court, I would tell him, how would he feel if an interstate was built in your property? Then he will set the shit up. Because let's be honest.
No, he won't. Like, you really don't understand how the court works. Like, that would be considered irrelevant in the courts.
But here, Jane, an interstate would take up more space. He would lose more of his property than he would with a railroad.
They're not arguing that. They're arguing about whether or not Texas Central is a railroad based on whether it has assets. It has nothing to do with the interstate highway system.
I know, but Jane...
He got that right out from Demetrius. I literally hear him say that all the time.
But here, Jane...
Demetrius hasn't been following the case as closely as me and Ziggy have.
But, yeah. But
we actually saw the court hearings. We saw the attorneys argue amongst themselves and with the judges. We know what happened. You don't. End of discussion.
Fine, whatever. And well, when it happened, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to wait until the next court order or like the next hearing.
You mean when they announce their decision?
Yes.
Or would Demetrius fix a video on it and you just watch that?
Hey, well, this time there more support, and heck, I guarantee there will be a lot of disgruntled
How much
people.
support or opposition at this point is to the project actually is irrelevant. That all that matters is what's going on in the courtroom, not outside.
Well, if the landowner, if he win, he gonna have to be looking behind his back for that, right? Because they're gonna be ticked off people who want to burn his property down.
No, there won't.
Technically, you would be surprised. You would be surprised.
What? Are they going to drive all the way from, like, what, Pennsylvania and come to his property? And then, like, how much of a big insecure loser do you have to be to harass the opposition to harass a plaintiff? That's one of the most pathetic things I've ever heard.
Back in the 1880s here in South Carolina, a dude was being crooked because he was paid by another railroad to not let one build through his property. The other railroad failed because the other one paid him. And when the town found out about it, they burnt the house down here in South Carolina.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. Here's the thing. The railroads in 1880 were very different from the Shinkansen systems we're working with that Texas Central wants to build. Back in the 1880, there weren't any highways or any substantial infrastructure besides the railroad. A town would die or live based off of whether or not they got a rail connection. So it makes sense why there would be riots. But in this case, there isn't as much at stake.
There is when you don't want to spend time on the interstate or be in the airport.
Dude, you don't know TxDOT. They can expand the highways, no problem. They've done it several times before. They've added so many freaking ring roads to San Antonio and Houston. They'll do it again. Expand it. They're already trying to expand the highway in Austin.
Well, people are getting sick and tired of it.
Texas Department of Transportation.
Then Texas locked down wide roads.
People are in Texas are actually getting sick and tired of it, and they're wanting it to stop.
Yeah, and they think that harassing James Frederick Miles is going to help. He's one guy.
Well,
that's stupid.
Trust me, you'll be surprised of what people do when they're pissed. You'll be surprised. But I'm
really?
But I am now going to scroll over to Florida. What do you guys think about Brightline? You know, it's 70% complete with their Orlando extension.
Where'd you get that from? ARC?
No.
He said it was from the forum that he got. I don't know what forum it is or how credible it is, but...
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just going to bring it up. How do you guys feel that they'll probably have the Orlando extension for Brightline to Orlando completed to year?
That was next year.
They'll have it completed.
Well, it's like late this year.
Yeah.
Assuming there aren't any more delays.
Yeah. They're already 70% complete with the right of way.
Yeah? Yeah, the line between Cocoa and Orlando is going along nicely. It's watching the roaming rail fans quite entertaining now.
Yeah. I've been keeping track of.
What I find interesting is from one of the videos, like, all right, I'm going to tell you a story that I had back in 2018. There was this woman named Susan Meal, and she ran an organization called Citizens Against the Train, which was one of the opposition groups against Brightline. And she was one of the people that was like, it's all about the freight and no people kind of deal. So what she thought was like, I asked her, like, if this is all just for the freight, why are they buying passenger rail assets, building stations, clearing land for development, and buying locomotives for passenger purposes when they can just simply extend sidings and add double tracks for a fraction of the cost? And then she tried to say that they were building a new alignment to get to the Port of Tampa to get more market share or something. It made no sense. But the thing is, in one of the roaming rail fans videos, he actually explains that the grades along the Coco to Orlando segment are about 4%, and freight trains cannot handle more than 2%.
I know.
Reliably.
That's true.
So
if
she's
they
full of
do,
shit.
yeah, she
We
is.
proved them wrong.
Yeah, she
Like, they designed their right of way to not handle freight trains.
only passenger train. And saying is, if they do run freight train, you would have to have a helper or a DPU. And the deepest grade in the U.S. with the Saluda grade on the North Carolina and South Carolina border, that was about a 5% grade.
85%.
Not 85, 5%.
Nah, he said 5.
Oh, I said 85. I'm like, that. What?
The Saluda,
What would an 85% grade look like?
not
Like almost vertical.
I'm not talking about a vertical grade. I'm talking about a 5% grade. Like the Saluda grade with going from South Carolina into North Carolina, along the mountain section, right along the border. The line have not been used since 2004, but they're actually talking about reactivating it.
Okay.
But this
Brightline.
Not for Brightline, for the Brewis Southern. They're talking about expanding out from their tour and freight operating in the Brewis Mountains. But let me get back to Florida. Like Brightline have went through a lot, and they're still coming out on top. You know?
Well, they're not going through as much as what Texas Central's going through right now.
And what?
At least they could get a joint operation agreement with the Florida East Coast Railroad so that they could have the line from Cocoa to Miami to work with.
Mm-hmm. I do think
most railroads aren't that lucky.
I know. Now the one Achilles heel to that from Cocoa to Orlando is that single track section that they have in on the right of way. That's the Achilles heel.
Fair, they made the right of way capable of supporting double track. So
I
get the feeling that they're just using single track alignment for now, and then they plan to upgrade in the future.
Yeah, give it about a year. Like, give it about a couple months to a year, and they will say, "Oh, we need it," and start building it right there and then. You know?
Sometimes ridership takes time to build, so I'd say a few years.
I know, but I know that they're getting ready to approve the section from Orlando to Tampa. So
I don't know how that's going.
Well,
I thought they were still trying to deal with Disney World.
Well, Disney.
I thought they got that one dealt with, or like they had like an interest or something.
Disney World is still getting a chase in. It'll be in phase 3. It did that. It did that. The other stops are getting aggravated because they won't get it, but Disney World will.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I understand why the help for phase 3, because let's be honest, Disney World is the closest and it's the shortest route.
Well, it's more along the way rather than the shortest route.
Mm-hmm. But thing is, what they could do is build a second route like that go around the Orlando. It will be the Orlando Airport train station, from the international airport. What they could do is build another track
that's relevant.
Go around, but yeah. But I do see a lot of stuff go on, But they're already.
Yeah, we've got stuff to look forward to.
But yeah, but they are also planning to start building Express, in California to Las Vegas too.
Oh yeah, Brightline West.
Yeah, they're getting ready to start building next year.
Really?
Yeah, they talked about it.
In ARC?
Yep. In ARC, and also there were articles about it. there are articles talking about it.
I don't know what Brightline has left to do regarding Brightline West. I know that I think they've wanted to. Is Phase 1 is the Rancho Cucamonga
Yes.
station part of Phase 1 of the project, or are they going to build the Victorville and then Rancho Cucamonga?
Victorville to Las Vegas, and then they'll be heading to Los Angeles.
Okay, so they're going to start with Victorville and then extend to Rancho Cucamonga.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how
Cajon Pass is going to be difficult to get through.
I know. They're either going to have to build their own track, or they might use the tracks that Union Pacific and BNSF use.
I highly doubt it. They're going to use like electrified trains, and those and because those are all transcons going through Cajon Pass, their double stacks aren't going to fit. So
at least they
they're
do
most
in the
likely gonna
Northeast.
have to build their own right of way.
They do in the Northeast corridor. Have you seen it in Northeast corridor? They do double stack under catenaries.
Yeah, but I don't know if Brightline West is going to make them compatible.
Well, they would probably have to if they want to get through the easier route, because it's going to be hell if they try to tunnel bore.
To be honest, that's probably what they're going to have to do. Like, I don't really see any other way working.
Well, we'll see and find out, because the first half they will have one by 2023, and with how fast they did the Miami tour, or wait, not Orlando, but Miami to Palm Beach. How fast they did that section, the Victorville to Las Vegas section will probably be done in 3 years, you know?
Well, do keep in mind that Brightline had Florida East Coast assets that were already there, and with Brightline West, they're going to have to build the entire alignment from scratch.
I know, but they got the advantage, because if they do it right, they can do miles and miles of track per day, you know? Just look at China. Heck,
I don't know if they're going to do miles of track per day. I don't think they're going to move that fast. I do expect there to be a lot less bureaucracy, because they're going through desolate land that is either federal public land or at least just barren wasteland that no one's going to use. So I assume there's going to be less disputes with opposition over it.
Yep. Now, they are talking about building it right in the middle of the interstate.
Interstate 15?
Yep. They're talking about...
probably talking about it. I don't know how well that's going to work for them.
If I was them, I would not put it in the middle of the interstate. Fuck that. Put it on the side.
What's wrong with putting it in the middle of the interstate?
Because...
Are there going to be like bridges over the top of the interstate?
Yeah. And also, you can see the interstate, all they have to do is just fuck the line and do some sketchy ass shit. What if you have...
I don't know. The tracks that Union Pacific and BNSF have look much sketchier than Interstate 15. Like, Interstate 15 seems to be much straighter.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie about that. What's been happening in California with Union Pacific in that one area, Los Angeles, damn, that crazy. Freaking train robberies. Can you believe that?
Yeah, what does that have to do with the sketchy?
That's happened several times before, even pre-COVID.
Yeah, but it's 10 times worse now. Have you seen the photos coming out of the area?
Yes, I have.
Mind-boggling.
How do we even get to this topic?
I don't know. I was talking about how the Union Pacific and BNSF Transcon routes through Cajon Pass seem much sketchier than the median of Interstate 15.
I know, but it all adds up, because both of them are being sketchy. Let's be honest, the Class 1s are cutting corners. Am I right?
No. In the case, they're doing what they can to get through Cajon Pass as safely as possible. Cajon Pass is on the San Andreas it's on a 4% grade, and it's on the San Andreas fault line. So it's an area that's very susceptible to earthquakes, and it's going to be very, very difficult
Also,
to get anything through Cajon Pass.
also,
Sorry.
it's very.
And it's not just because of them cutting corners. It's because the geography and geology of the area makes it difficult.
What is very infamous for them 3 runaway trains, like the one that hit Duffy Street when Southern Pacific.
Yeah, and
That one, and then when they had that train slam right into the back of that other, and then that one that derailed because of brake failure.
what does that have to do with Union Pacific?
That proves my point of how dangerous Cajon Pass is.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's not because of railroads cutting corners. It's because Cajon Pass is dangerous.
I know. Heck, they tried to make it must saber by double track in some areas. Like they double track the line now.
That doesn't fix the 4% grade.
That's true, but they have double track. They have widened the line. Like you
This
get.
allows for more trains to pass by, so if anything, it gets worse. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't think double tracking the alignment makes any better. Like, and if you're widening the line, you're widening the gauge, which they're not doing because it's standard gauge railroad.
No, I'm not.
So
I'm not talking about changing the gauge at the track. That's not what I'm
you
talking
said
about.
widening the railroad.
I meant double tracking, like double track, not widening. My bad.
All right.
Unless you
I don't
widen
see
the
how that
right
makes
of
it
way,
any safer.
I guess.
But I do see one sketchy thing. It do single track it, like taking the second track out, making it a single line. That make it even more dangerous because you got to do all the trains. You know, like pay attention to all of them.
I don't know. I think I'd argue that a single track alignment through incredibly difficult terrain might actually be more preferable because 1, it costs less, and 2, you can have one train at a time go through so that you don't have 2 trains colliding into each other midway in the pass.
But it also called a
That's my point.
bottleneck. It also called a bottleneck, and also you have higher
but
chance
that
of
doesn't make it more
head-on
dangerous.
collisions.
That just makes it less. That just means there's less throughput.
But let me bring that one chain up. Back in the 90s, when BNSF was this form, they had a runaway train that slammed right into the other one on the single track main part of the line. That what got them to double track it. That what caused them to double track the main line.
Wait, where did it run into? Like specifically, like was it in like San Bernardino?
No.
Or was it like
On the path. It was on the single track section of the pass up in the mountain area. And what happened
the
is,
problem is if it's double tracked, and unless you've got like a block where they're going to sit,
they do.
and if the brakes fail, they just go barreling down
Yes,
right at the
sir.
train. And
Yes,
if
sir.
it's going fast enough, trying to switch it onto the other track is only just going to cause a derailment.
Okay.
So basically, if the brakes fail on Cajon Pass, double tracking it isn't going to do shit.
Sorry, I'm not playing around. It's just to keep your spirit.
But
up.
yeah. Oh, Val, who are you talking to?
My friends in the Agent Like Me.
Oh, tell them if they hear me.
Sorry guys. Sorry kapatid.
We can hear you.
Now.
My wife is doing a
Live stream
Jane
across
with
the
her friend.
so
My bad.
type it down na lang po yung comments.
Okay.
But
Mawala
what I'm
yung
saying
phone ko.
is that
Sorry po.
we do need double tracks sometime because this single track and everything is not going to work, and sometimes it will cause problems.
Yeah, but not safety problems.
But it also
Cajon
causes.
Pass is going to be just as dangerous with 1 or 2 tracks because the grade's going to be like 4%. You've got the San Andreas fault line, which can snap 2 tracks just as easily as 1, and you've just got it's just dangerous.
I know, but here it's
It's
saying.
because of geography, not because of the railroads.
I know, but here it's saying. What I need to bring. I'm going to bring that up earlier. I need to ask you guys. What would you think would get? What do you guys think will get built up way quicker after a natural disaster? A railroad or a highway system?
Wait, what? I didn't hear the question.
What do you think would be able to build up rebuild faster after a major earthquake or a natural disaster, either a rail system or a highway?
Well, I do think that the roads are going to be built because that way they can at least get ambulances running along in case of an emergency.
You would have to think otherwise because road infrastructure are a lot harder if you see it.
Yeah, but it'd be higher priority for the reasons that I
But
stated.
here, Jane, freight trains, or not freight train, but the rail system thing out we rebuild faster. If you think about the earthquake that not San Francisco, that California had back in the 90s, the tracks were always the first thing that are always back up and running. And back in the 50s, when they had that earthquake up in Alaska, it took them only a week to get all the tracks back up and running. When it comes to the rail system.
Well, with the rail system, as long as they don't break, if the tracks are just warped, you can just move them back.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Roads, I think, are going to get higher priority because of what I said. They have emergency vehicles. They provide essential access for other services that cannot be accessed by rail. They go to more places, and there's a more likely reason that people are going to rely on the road infrastructure compared to the rail.
But you can have. It
doesn't matter if it's easier. What matters is that it's more important.
But here, Jane, you can carry more material, like emergency material, by train than you can by road.
Yeah, but
can you destination?
That's like. But when it comes to an ambulance responding, capacity doesn't matter. What matters is they get there as soon as possible, get the guy in a stretcher, and get back to the hospital as soon as possible.
We used to have hospital trains. Heck, Europe are bringing them back because of COVID.
Yeah, but is a train going to come to my house when I break my leg and drive me to the hospital?
No.
Like, where are the tracks from my house directly to the hospital?
Heck,
There are roads going from my house to the hospital, but not train tracks.
All right. But yeah.
Yeah, not everyone's like you and lives like 2 feet away from the train tracks.
Heck, it's been crazy. But yeah.
But I wouldn't count on trains for any kind of emergency use. They can be great for like capacity wise and for moving bulk goods, but when it comes to immediate situations, they're not that great.
But they are when it comes to bringing in building material, like hell.
Yeah, but when an earthquake happens and there are people that are trapped under rubble, there's bleeding, there's screams of the damned, a train isn't going to help because they can't get to them. They need paramedics to get to them. And they come in ambulances, which use road infrastructure, which, while also damaged, is repaired quicker for the same reason.
All right. Well, there's something else that I'm going to bring up. You guys been keeping track of what's been going on in Ukraine?
Who hasn't?
Dude, I hate Jay. We're on. This Third World War is going to happen. I hate to break it. It's going to happen.
That's what we said when China was getting into Taiwan's airspace, and then suddenly we're not talking about it anymore. So.
Well, funny thing.
Say we're going to go to World War III in 2020 over something happening in Iran.
There was a. So what happened was the President Trump ordered an airstrike on Qasem Soleimani, who was at an embassy in Baghdad, Iraq, and killed him. And Iran was not happy about it. And people were like, oh no, we're going to go to war with Iran.
And then they shot down a commuter jet that had Russian and some of their own in it, and then they had to deal with Russia.
No, that was actually a flight from Ukraine Airlines, and it was on its way to Kiev. And it mainly held Canadians and some other people. There were no Americans on board. And I don't know why they shot it down, and unless something comes out, we probably never will know. My guess is that it was an accident because I don't know why they would do it.
Well, after that, they backed off because the world was looking at them with them being total idiots.
Well, and then the coronavirus came into the picture.
Yeah, that too. But here, Jane, this time it for real because they are sending U.S. troops to Europe right now.
Well, and President Biden also stationed aircraft carriers in the strait between Taiwan and the mainland.
That also true because China decided with Russia with what's been going on in Ukraine. So if war break out in Ukraine, it's going to break out right there at Taiwan Strait too. Because China going to try to take full on advantage of this.
Oh, another person who's gone schizoid.
And here
I don't know. It's maybe they'll do that. I mean, that's what happened in World War II with Japan. I can't say why or how because I'm not really much of an expert on foreign policy. All I know for sure is that currently NATO is stationing tanks and equipment in support of Ukraine, but they're not landing troops on the ground. Which good because I don't want troops on the ground.
Well, they are taking in U.S. troops in Poland right now. They have a whole butterload of U.S. troops
Ukraine
because they are afraid that Ukraine will be the next target because Ukraine are right on.
It is the next target.
You mean?
Or not Ukraine. I'm talking about Poland. My bad.
Also, I don't think Russia would go after Poland, especially since they would have to get through the Baltic states.
The Balkans
are a much better target. I thought they would go for like Belarus, which already sims for Russia anyway.
Belarus is right there on the border with Poland.
Coming from a strategic standpoint, if Russia were to go for Poland, they would have to go through either Belarus or the Baltic states.
Well, Belarus.
If they hold on, don't fucking cut me off, okay?
Alright.
Now, if they wanted to steamroll over the Baltic states, all they would have to do is sever a supply line that NATO continuously operates into the Baltic states, so troops there wouldn't be understaffed or running low on supplies.
Speaking of NATO,
isn't Poland part of NATO?
Well, I know Belarus.
And Russia is also a part of NATO. So
no, Russia's not part of NATO.
No, it's not.
Right.
Belarus is also not part of NATO
Baltics
either.
are part of NATO, like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. They're part of NATO. Belarus is not part of NATO. Ukraine is not a part of NATO. And a reason now, I know Ukraine wants to be a part of NATO, and I think it'd be a good thing if they were a part of NATO. But Russia, I know, it has targeted Ukraine in the past, like with the annexation of Crimea, because they weren't part of NATO. And what's an important part of NATO is that an attack on one is an attack on all. So if they say, let's say they invade Estonia, then that would start a war because that would be an attack on NATO. And that would get everyone involved.
Well,
what
Finland
Russia's trying to do is avoid this by going after a non-NATO state, in this case Ukraine, and then hopefully get to Moldova's. Forget what the name of their autonomous region is. That's like pro-Russia. Transnistria. Thank you.
Isn't that country like? Or not that country, that place trying to be like its own country or something?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It also have the logging railroad in the world.
Okay, not sure how that's relevant to geopolitics.
I did brought it up because it was interesting, but the thing is that Ukraine are being backed up by the EU and the US. And here's the other thing. There are other countries that are afraid of getting invaded because they are afraid that Russia is going to try to invade them too at the same time, a.k.a. Finland. Finland is taking in troops along its border with Russia. Because
well, we know what happened when Russia tried to invade Finland.
Yeah, the Winter War.
Finland is also a part of NATO, so it would probably just end just as well as if they were to invade the other Baltics.
The thing that I do see happening is that Russia tried to invade them, then next they will try to invade Finland because, let's be honest, when you get that much of power and went into conquest, you don't stop until you get either killed or you get taken over.
Well, here's the thing I want you to consider that you haven't mentioned yet: economics. So the reason why Russia got Crimea from Ukraine was because they wanted the port city of Sevastopol, which is on the Crimean Peninsula. And a big problem with Russia is, despite its large amount of coastline,
It might be frozen
they don't have
at the
good
time
access
of the
to the
year
sea.
because of the
The Gulf
winter.
of Finland can freeze quite a bit. The Sea of Japan, where Vladivostok is located, can freeze up. And when that happens, there's a lot less activity in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
In the Black Sea, this isn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
So by getting the port city of Sevastopol, they can get warm water. That's
Yeah.
why they built a bridge, and that's why they annexed Crimea. What I think they're going to do is they're going to come along the southern edge of what is now Ukraine, excluding Crimea, and they would probably take out like major manufacturing centers. They'd probably go after airplane manufacturing facilities, and they'll probably go to like Mariupol, Mykolaiv, Odessa, and then they make their way to Transnistria, where they've got Russian separatists stationed there.
Now,
That's the case. And then they also got backups in Crimea, where they also have troops stationed.
Now, here are two wild cards that might backstab the EU. There are two countries that I would say that would backstab the EU and probably switch to Russia's side. One of them will be either Turkey or Russia, not Russia, but Turkey or Greece.
Why?
Okay, Turkey and Greece will never, ever fight on the same side anymore. They hate each other.
Why would they switch sides to Russia?
No, one of them will because both of them.
Greece were a part of NATO. Greece has been a part of NATO for a long time. They're the oldest Balkan member to be a part of NATO.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey is also a part of NATO. Why would they switch sides?
One of them,
NATO?
I'm talking about one side. One of them might switch side because one of them been getting warmer with Russia lately.
And which one made that be?
Greece. The reason why is because Greece is going into debt. Let's be honest. Greece is going into debt.
And you think Russia's going to save them?
Technically, it depends.
They're already a part of the EU. They're a part of NATO. They don't need Russia to save them because the EU can save them. Well, assuming it doesn't end in crisis.
Well,
But
here, Jane,
still.
because I do see a war born between Greece and Turkey. I do see that happening.
Well, they hated each other for centuries.
Yeah, and I could see Russia backing up one of them side. You know?
No, they aren't. They're both a part of NATO.
Trust me. When a country wants to
No,
get...
I won't trust you. No, I won't.
Absolutely just how mind-bogglingly stupid do you have to be to think that Russia would back two NATO
Or
one
not,
NATO country fighting another NATO country?
because it will mean that country will switch sides.
Hold on.
Alright, I'm
Stop talking for 5 minutes and let me speak.
Don't you call Gorell when you've
Okay.
gone too far and
Thank
dropping
you.
an F-bomb, okay? Say sorry.
Oops.
You gotta say sorry. Because you dropped an F-bomb.
Now my wife is upset. But I'm just going... Let me bring it up.
Hold on.
I'm bringing up Japan.
Let me say what I was gonna say.
Fuck
Okay.
up, David.
Okay, let me speak for once. Now, there's absolutely no evidence that you can provide saying that Russia in a escalation of tensions between Greece and Turkey, there's no evidence that you've provided that says Russia will directly support Turkey if said conflict ever happens. Alright?
I'm going to send you guys a link on some incidents that happened back in 2021.
Can I talk about something real, because I'm the geography expert here, so I know a bit about this part of the world. So, Sevastopol is located in the Black Sea. The only way to access the Black Sea is through the Strait of Hormuz near Istanbul, which is a part of Turkey. and Greece controls the Aegean Sea. Like, they use their massive navy and air force to control all those little islands in the Aegean Sea, because they don't want Turkey getting them. Because if Turkey gets them, they control the Aegean Sea. So why would it make sense for Russia to back Greece to fight a war with Turkey when Turkey can block off the Strait of Hormuz so that they can't get to the Aegean Sea, which is controlled by Greece?
Well,
Wait, Strait of Hormuz.
It's the other way around.
Saudi
He's
Arabia.
trying to
Mike's
say.
taking the wrong one.
but
Did I
here,
say Saudi Arabia? I said Turkey. I said
No.
Turkey.
You just Strait of Hormuz. It's the Strait of Hormuz in not Saudi Arabia. It's between Iran and Oman. Because I don't know if
It's
you're
in the Middle East.
Bosphorus Strait.
It's right.
Yeah.
Is it this? All right. But what's the strait that
The one where
separates Istanbul in half?
I think it's the Bosphorus Strait.
yeah, it's the Bosphorus Strait.
Or it's called the Turkish Strait. Yeah.
Yeah, but my point still stands. Like, if the enemy controls the Bosphorus Strait, Sevastopol is useless, and that's Russian territory. And then what is Greece going to do? Like, the enemy splits the relationship between Greece and Russia. It's like, that makes no sense why they would back it, especially when the reason why they took Sevastopol was access for the Black Sea.
That is right. But also,
So why would they back Turkey? Or why would they go against Turkey and back Greece?
because it'll tear apart the EU.
No, it wouldn't. That
Okay.
is the most stupidest thing I've heard all year.
Turkey
and
is
it's
not a part
only
of the EU.
2 months into this year.
But
Now,
do
give me.
it went to me. Do it went
Hold
to
on.
me. Because
Hold-
if you guys remember the
hold-
United Nations.
Shut. Silencio. Now, one thing that you've consistently gotten wrong is despite tensions running high between Turkey and Greece, there's gonna be no conflict. Because they're two members of the EU, and even if one of them decides
Turkey's not a part of the EU. They're a part of NATO.
Alright, whatever. Same. I'm a little angry right now, if you can't tell. Now, if there was an eventual conflict, I wouldn't tear apart the EU. That would literally just make it so everyone in the EU, basically the UK, France, Germany, Italy, etc.,
Well, the
they
UK already
would
broke
go
off
and
from the
kick
EU.
Turkey's ass.
But his point still stands. Even if you don't include the UK, you've got all these other EU nation states that
Alright.
They are going. If Turkey decides to put a knife up against Greece's throat metaphorically, they're going to step in and they're going to beat Turkey down metaphorically.
I know, but
Turkey and Greece have fought so many wars, but even then, if Russia really wants to tear apart the EU, they wouldn't target Turkey and Greece. They would target Brussels, where the capital of the EU is. They would try to influence elections. They've already tried to use cyber attacks against other NATO member states because NATO is outdated and doesn't include cyber attacks as a form of attack against the nation. That's why Russia is big on cyber attacks.
that is
It's-
true.
Why would they go for Turkey and Greece when the far more important members of the EU are like Germany, Belgium, France, like places that were where the core of the EU resides? Like,
Because
that doesn't make sense.
they wanted to take it out from the bottom, you know? You start with the weakest
Why?
point.
That makes no sense.
That's literally not
Why would-
taking it out from the bottom. That's just starting another useless conflict.
That's like shooting their foot and then them shooting you in the chest.
But here,
Like
Jane,
shooting yourself in the foot.
but
and then
here,
shooting
Jane,
yourself in
Italy,
the other foot.
Greece, and Turkey are the underbelly of Europe. Did think about it.
No,
No,
No.
they aren't.
how does that matter?
World
Like-
War
like
II.
we just said.
World War
Doesn't
II.
even matter. Okay, what about World War II? Come on, buddy. Spit it out, Junior. Today.
Italy, and Turkey what they called the underbelly of Europe during World War II, because that was the protected area that Germans had.
What? What are you going on about?
You know what? Never mind.
Italy was on the Axis side.
You're going
Italy
off
was
of
on the
historic
Axis
figures.
side up until a certain point in World War II, whereas Turkey and Greece weren't really involved because they were sort of the lesser-known areas of conflict. You see, Italy invaded Greece during World War II, which led to Greece eventually being a puppet of Italy up until it was liberated, whereas when the Americans landed in Sicily and all those other areas, they had to fight their way through German soldiers and Italian soldiers,
But
sometimes even getting pushed back in certain areas.
But if
They
you
had
did
to
think
continue
about it,
fighting
the Italian
until
in
they
the
fully capitulated Italy.
yeah,
Hey, David, when you always say just think about it, we think about it a lot, and we conclude that you're wrong.
you proved everything are wrong
spent
just to make
5
yourself
whole
look better.
years. I've spent almost 5 years studying World War II. Do I look like I am no expert?
Hey, well,
And
I
like we said, they're going to be focused on the economics of today and not the economics of 1943, especially since this was before NATO and the EU. Like, the geopolitics of Europe during World War II were very, very different from today.
now let's just get back to rail. I'm just going to bring it up. Have you guys noticed a lot more military trains lately?
No.
You are starting to segue back into geopolitics,
No.
my friend.
I've been seeing a lot more military trains lately. On dip.
Those are quite common. They just happen.
Well,
It's
we usually get once or twice a month on dit line, but lately for the last 2 months we've been having about 10 of them.
there's always these conspiracy theories that I occasionally hear about, like military trains being more active. The only problem is people don't care when it's a time of crisis. Like, military trains are actually quite frequent. They're not always needed, and they're not like
I know.
everyday sight.
I know the
And that's
reason.
what makes them suspicious.
The
But, like,
reason why, because
just
they've
because-
been working on the military bases around here in South Carolina, but they've been upgrading a lot of stuff. But they're
Okay,
shutting down
so what?
one. They've been moving a lot of stuff around for probably a new military base
hold
or
on.
something.
I'm going to
Yeah,
interrupt
just
you
moving
right
stuff
there.
around. That happens.
You see, the military, every once in a while, units will be switched from base to base.
That's true
Say,
too.
For example, there was a big example back in the 1990s up in Maine. Up in Maine, there was a military base called Loring Air Force Base. And when the Base Realignment and Closure Edition 1995 came out, that base was shut down. Now, the bomber wing that was stationed there was moved to South Dakota. While the aircraft got there pretty easily, you still had base personnel. You still had to move them some way. So they were either moved by air, land, but that has no correlation to like, oh, more increased traffic. What could be possibly going on is units are being switched around, as they do once in a while, and equipment could be being switched around. I
Yeah,
know there were a few
I know.
aircraft down in Westover that were switched around a couple times,
I know.
but that doesn't mean that the military is up to something no good.
I know. Heck, back last summer when there was a natural disaster with all flooding up in North Carolina and up north, they had a military train full of equipment for the National Guard heading up there that they sent on the tracks right at my house. I caught on video
There is
to send up to help with the recovery effort with the flood damage and all that last year. And I caught it also same day that I
last
caught.
year.
Yeah, I also caught the CXX Pride units, or technically only one of them. The Spirit of Law Enforcement, not a night locomotive. Hey, have any of you guys caught the CXX Pride units before?
Probably. Well, actually, no, because I don't live near CSX.
Dude,
so I don't think I have.
I have caught them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. 8 times.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's 444 times.
Nope. 8 times for me. Ironically, I have never caught an NS Heritage unit. I have never caught a NS Heritage unit. But I have caught Amtrak Heritage units.
Cool.
Let me go over what I've seen.
Have
I have seen 2 Amtrak 50th units,
me,
146 respectively.
did you caught the Midnight
Seen
Blue unit?
1 Norfolk Southern Heritage unit, 1072 of the Illinois Terminal. I've seen all 4 former Florida East Coast units on the New England Central, including 437, 417, which are still in almost original Florida East Coast Hurricane Blue. I have also seen both of Pan Am's former heritage units, 52 and 77.
Which are at that
I have also
short
seen-
railroad. Am I right?
No, ain't related, but okay, buddy. I have also seen both of Pan Am's OCS units,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a few other ones I can't remember.
Now,
I saw one of the CSX sticker units.
Now, I have caught the sticker units, but I don't count the heritage units.
Oh, technically they are,
Mm.
because even if they're not in full heritage schemes, they still have a little sticker slapped on it.
Yeah, but I don't count them because they're just stickers, you know?
They're just stickers. No, they are not just stickers.
All right,
They're actual paint schemes.
Yeah, they might not be much, but they're still cool in my opinion. Because I
Yeah.
grew up on Class 2 and Class 3 railroading. I've never even, up until very recently, I didn't even know what a heritage unit was a fathomable concept.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But you know,
well.
that's just me because
Hey, well, you guys know they are out rebuilding the Southern Heritage unit. You remember one that got hit by that lock slide? They're rebuilding him.
personally, I personally wish that it, would have gotten, destroyed completely because I hate the Southern.
Haha, very funny because that railroad started in South Carolina.
It's not in out of spite. I just hate it.
Dude, come on. You just said that in a
You want to be
Oof. Hey, well,
want to be out there saying, "Oh, you just don't like the Southern because it's just because of me," all that other stuff. Politely, you can just screw it off, Buckaroo.
all right, well, and not from that, but
Because you're the kind of whippersnapper to just be like, "Guys, I caught the Southern Heritage unit."
no, I don't do that shit. Heck, that's up I don't do. Oh, being that, auto train coming again, the southbound. Ooh, I hear a horn. But thing is that they are rebuilding the Southern Heritage unit. He getting a new coat of paint. They're saying probably by next month it will be back out at the stop and back up and running. But it'll be good news for some people who actually like the locomotive. But yeah.
Whereas to me, it's unfortunate.
Hey. Well, if you forgot, a lot of our heritage units got effed up, but they still repaired them.
No. Complete fabrication. You just made it up.
No, I'm
You
serious.
are going insane metaphorically.
Whatever. If you remember,
I think
Tom,
Jay was making a joke.
I know, but my thing is, if a locomotive that if both be a heritage unit that they did get F up, you want to make sure that's in a repair for your public relations. Because
What does that have to do with public relations?
well, that locomotive made for public relation, and let's just say Norfolk Southern right now, they're not having that much public relations right now.
I don't know. I think they're pretty cozy with their shareholders.
Not. It depends, man, but
Have you seen their?
Maybe
their
they'd have
stock
good PR if they didn't fire crews after they messed up.
Yeah, and
Even
maybe they would
better,
be more
they'd
likely
have good
if they weren't
PR
for
if-
PSR.
They'd have good PR if they were total and complete, forgive my French, jackasses.
well, that is true. A lot of people don't like Norfolk Southern right now. And PO 53 going by the auto train.
Looks Norfolk Southern Hikers.
I'm sorry, Val.
Shareholders, like the people investing publicly in Norfolk Southern. Have you seen the returns lately?
Oof.
They're the highest returning railroad on the Class 1 railroad on the stock market at the moment. How long that's gonna last? Probably not long, but still, like they're doing what the management is doing what the shareholders want, and I think the shareholders are quite happy with Norfolk Southern, even if it comes at the cost of their workers.
Now, BNSF on their hand been oofing up. You heard about BNSF in shambles right now?
Shambles.
How are they in shambles?
Well,
They're still running.
let's just say the crews are on protest because of the new thing that
No,
they're
they are
doing.
not. Where now?
They talked about it on the news.
Forgive my extreme amount of anger and hatred here. They are not protesting. A
I'm talking about-
court order
Protesting what?
has basically told them they can't protest.
Well, a lot of people are out quitting because they're out thing calling around they hashtag quit BNSF.
Wait, for what? I don't get what's going on. What are they protesting?
It's
What
been
is
it's going on
the reason
Facebook.
behind them quitting?
It's going on Facebook right now. And what happening is a lot of people who work for BNSF are quitting right now.
I can't hear that well.
I don't know. Something about a
Can you
protest would be the
hear me now? Can
same.
you?
Hear me now.
What I'm trying to say, a lot of people are quitting BNSF right now. That
Why?
Okay.
because of the new work rules, you know?
What are they?
They are
Don't say you know, but we usually don't.
they are punishing people who take time off. Like for vacations and all of that.
Why?
I don't know, but I get they're doing to trying to
Are
push
you
for one-man
sure?
crews. I think they're doing to trying to push for one-man crews is what I think they're trying to do.
To be fair, quite a bit of the railroad industry is doing that, and that's because quite a bit of the railroad workforce is scheduled to retire in like the next decade.
Yeah, because let's be honest, no one want to be truckers and no one want to work on the railroad. Let's be honest.
I don't know if that's the case. I think about all the foamers. I would love to work for a railroad.
Well,
But it would be, I don't know.
In don't want to work on a railroad that's, fucking class 1 because
Do not raise your family. Something.
go figure, because I fucking hate class 1s, because a lot
Well,
of
and the thing I
a lot of
don't
people
really
who
like
want to work
about
for them are overzealous bombers.
Yeah, well, and the reason why I don't like working for the railroad is because I know at some point, if I become a locomotive engineer, I'm eventually going to hit someone, and that's going to be traumatic. And I don't want to sacrifice my mental health for that.
Well, one
It's
thing
already
is,
kind of messed up as is.
I have a friend who worked for a delivery service, or not a delivery service, but someone who take the people who work for the railroad out to their locomotive for a crew change.
Okay.
He have all the thing to operate a locomotive. He actually have the train license. He a conductor.
Okay.
Jane is that Norfolk Southern, CSX, every class 1 don't want to hire him. And he worked hard for it. And he think it because he a foamer,
Is he
Well, here's the thing. Hard work doesn't always mean better pay.
Well, he FRA approved. He got the FRA approved.
Like, does he have a license?
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
Is
but
he legally?
that's just a
does
requirement
he
to work.
have-
That doesn't mean you get the job automatically.
He
That's the reason why people are skeptical of college degrees now. Is they're like, yeah, you get the requirement for the job you want, but how do you compare against all the other applicants?
I
that
know,
have the same
and
degree as you?
funny thing is that he got all the requirements. It did that every time he tried to go for a job interview and like do a survey, or not survey, but the application, he always get denied.
Yeah.
Improve something.
Does he hold?
Like, how does he
Let me-
compare to the other applicants that get accepted? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, Jane
Like,
is
you gotta
that
stand out from your employer.
Jane is that he on the weekends he operates steam engines, like steam engine and diesel locomotive on a tour railroad up in the upstate here in South Carolina.
And why should Norfolk Southern care about that?
Because they would have someone that they don't have to train that already knows shit.
But there are other people that are trained. Plus,
Hold
here's
on,
the thing.
let me-
Railroad companies have things called trainees. So, they can train people in. Sure, it's not always economical to do so because training employees can be expensive. But still, they have other options, but they don't always go for like high-end recruits. Oftentimes they want to get like entry-level people in because they cost less. And if they can keep them in, they save more money than having to hire new people.
I know, but Jane is that at that rate, if they don't look for people who are interested in training, they hire people who didn't want the job, they're going to have a workforce that is not that good because you want people who are in the job.
Pretty much everyone who goes into the railroad does it for the job. Like, I hate to break it to you, but not everyone on the railroad is fascinated with trains.
Well,
My school.
I'm gonna say one thing.
Well, school.
Doesn't matter if you're FRA certified or not. It also depends on how physically fit you are. If you have any underlying mental conditions, if you have trouble seeing or hearing, or overall if you are unfit for the job.
well, the only thing
Now,
that
if- Hold on.
that he have is a
Now-
belly. He only have a belly. That all he have.
Or type 2 diabetes. I don't know.
I'm sorry for laughing at that.
Dude, that was it.
So
Savage. That was a little bit savage right there.
Yeah.
So, as basically, if I were to apply for Class 1 railroad, like Norfolk Southern or CSX, I wouldn't really be approved because I don't have good, I wear glasses, I don't have good mental capabilities. I have underlying mental conditions. I'm borderline fucked in the head, basically.
What do you have?
Still a minor. They're not going to hire anyone without a high school diploma.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Dude, are you
You're not gonna hire a
autistic?
minor, obviously.
Dude,
This is like later on in life.
dude, are you
If
autistic?
I went up to a... Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with my point, but...
Dude,
let me
I'm at,
continue
are
speaking
you
before you look and
autistic?
interrupt me again. Can't speak one fucking bit.
Alright, I'll let you speak.
You're autistic. You
Alright, thank you. Because I hate being talked over.
Well, sorry about that.
Now, for example, if I got my FRA certification and I went up to a class 3 road, they wouldn't really
Excuse me.
care because FRA guidelines are not as strict on them. Because even without my glasses on, I have either 15 or 17 out of 20 vision, which is not that bad compared to some other people. I have good hearing, and most of all, I'm good in a stressful environment, but I could still be denied on a number of reasons.
That's true.
The most obvious reason being I'm 6 foot and 185 to 200 pounds, which is not that bad, but it's not that good either. Now, even without those factors, I could also be declined on medical grounds, being that whether physical or psychological, they could deny me. I've been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, which is not a good combination, which could lead me to make decisions on a whim.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know what a whim means, very quick thinking.
Yeah, I know what you mean with
best.
that. I know what that mean.
Hey, Jay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're on the air. Like, this is being recorded right now.
What?
So maybe
Oh,
don't
cool.
share
Hi,
too
YouTube.
much personal info about yourself.
Dude,
Just
you just literally said all that on YouTube.
And that's going to be used against me when?
2 or 3 people.
It's not gonna be used against you, man. I talk about me being autistic on my YouTube channel all the time, so mental health is something I do talk about on YouTube a lot.
I mean, if you're
Even
okay
if-
with sharing it, Jay, go ahead. I just figured you'd know that.
I don't mind it, honestly. It's just,
I don't know.
I could have been told this earlier so I didn't, flip my shit earlier.
Dude, it's fine. Heck, the more content, the better, you know? That YouTube for you. Am I right?
No.
Get that set up.
This has turned into an incredibly weird live stream.
Tell me about it.
Keep it going.
But I got it.
It's fun to destroy you a couple times over.
Well, I got to get ready to go to bed, guys, because it is 1:35 in the morning here. Ugh. And we've been... And I got to be at work at 12 o'clock, meaning I got 10, or not 10 hours, but 11 hours before I have to be at work.
That's quite a bit of time.
Hey, well, I do get a little bit of sleep. I do need to get a little bit of sleep anyway.
Yeah, if it wasn't for me being sick, I'd have to be at work by 9.
Hey, well... Yeah, hey, well, I'm going to be on Dimitri live stream tomorrow night, that for sure.
Yep, and I don't want to be there.
Heck, well, I'm out trying to get him hooked up with a new girl because ever since he lost Holly. Because,
I mean, I announced it to the whole server. Like, everyone knows.
well, I got a friend who is 34 that is around his age group. And she is single, and I'm going to try to get him hooked up with someone, you know?
listen. Okay, so do not do that. He's still grieving the loss of his
Holly.
fiance. He
I-
was the love of his life, and he lost it. You think it could easily be replaced by just another girl?
I know.
Nope.
That why I'm
You
going.
don't.
That one.
No,
No. I'm going to give it about a couple months or a year. Like me and my friend agreed before I do this.
No, listen. It might be cute to try and set someone up on a blind date, but when they're mourning the loss of someone that they love dearly, it's not appropriate. In fact, it's quite shameful.
Yeah.
All right.
He's right, Day. He's right.
All right. My wife agreed with you guys, so yeah.
Like, Chicago Girlfriend, I hope you don't mind
Would
interrupting
you mind if someone did that in your situation, David? If you were in the same situation?
Yeah, well, if someone is trying to help me, I would understand. I would not be mad, but I would talk to them about it.
Oh, I'd be mad. Like if
Hey,
I met
Oh.
the love of my
Second,
life and we were planning to get married, and
Oh.
then she suddenly died, and then someone tried to hook me with someone else, especially when I'm still mourning the loss of the one who died, I'd be pissed.
excuse
Yeah, it'd
me.
be
Oh,
Filipino.
my wife is trying to ask you guys
I'd punch you
something.
in the fucking face if you tried doing that.
Guys, my wife is trying to say something.
Hello.
No, shut up now.
Oh.
Hey. No, I try to call your attention,
That's the
guys.
man you from
I was saying,
blocking me for
excuse
no
me.
reason on live stream.
Yeah, you guys are right. Like, actually, this is a train thing, but it's a side.
My
note.
wife we agree with you guys.
I'm like, I
let
understand
her
what
talk.
you're. I'm not trying to be mean, guys, but I do understand. I do agree with y'all, and yeah, you're right about it. It's just like you lost your scholarship. I mean, you lost your friend, and then you want to replace another. I mean, you replace in a quick thing. It's not. I mean, if I were to talk to my husband, aka David, right there, I'm sorry. I hope this is not gonna be used against both of us. Okay, don't take it as if that I'm degrading y'all or something, or degrading y'all's opinion. First and foremost, so everybody's entitled to each one's opinions. In my opinion, here's the thing: if I were in Dimitri's place, I wanted to have space. I have to recuperate after a heartbreak, not because we broke up, something like that. I lost her. If I were Dimitri's shoes, I don't want to look for another girl. I want to recuperate and recover myself from the pain. And it will take him a year. Trust the process, honey, because pain is part of process. You know what I'm saying right there,
yeah,
both
I know.
of y'all.
Yeah, we know what you're saying, Val.
Do you think about I was down there?
Yeah, for the most part, I agree with Vel. Like, what people, like she said, people need space, and especially when they're grieving. And I just say, David, give Demetrius space.
I
If he
know.
wants to find someone else, he can find someone
Let
pretty
him be.
easily. He's a good-looking guy. There are plenty of people in the area that date him.
I know. Well,
I don't think it's really your business.
I know, but I am a good friend of him, and I try to look out for him. You know.
Yeah, but if Dimitri says no, let him be.
All right, I know.
Don't push him around. Like, don't push Baby Yoda to the edge.
Bella and Manon.
Personally, I don't think this is any of your business, David.
It's
I
not
just
even my
think that you
business
should
either.
just let him be when it comes to dating. You can maybe if he's like, hey, there's this girl that I like. What do you think of her? You can give your opinion then. But I wouldn't try to hook him up when he's not really into hooking up at the moment.
I know.
I should have told you that day.
Well, I know. Well, I gotta get ready to end the live stream. It's already 1:40 now.
Okay.
Talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Chicago Rail fan. Is that Chicago Rail fan?
It's a Rail fan, High Cat, and a couple other fans. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Later, guys.
Sorry, bud.
Bye, I guess.
All right.
Bye.
Later, guys.
Told you, David. I had a gut that you can never mess with Dimitri for now.
I know, but I did try to look out for him. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. I gotta get ready for bed.
Sorry, guys, if we're getting into personal stuff.
I know, but
supposed to be there.
it was supposed to be more about trains, but tonight got a little hectic. Let's be honest. Tonight got a little crazy.
I want to say something about train goals. Like, before you end your live stream, David. I may not be a rail fanner by regular like you, but in my opinion, why rail system, don't take it as if I'm degrading y'all rail system, why rail system sucks nowadays? It's because, like, this is an off topic, David. Am I right? This is off topic or is it still related?
If it about rail, then it on topic.
Okay, just be sure. Philippines is example of not prioritizing variety. They're more on the commuter rail over a rail itself. As a Filipino living there since birth, we used to have a variety of steam locomotives.
I know you had freight trains up until about 2003 until 2004.
And then we got our focus on building commuter rail, which is a very good thing.
Commuter rail is good, but the outer areas like the smaller cities and the outer and small towns got screwed out of that to the point where they had to rely on vehicles and cars.
Because they're small, like they don't have that much size. Unlike in Greater Manila, we do have a lot of space. We do have a lot of size.
Right.
It's just like my home country is doing plans to build more rail transit. We do have the light rail transit and we do have the metro transit. Here's the thing. Metro transit is the heavier ones that can carry a lot of people, or passengers, my bad. Light rail, they can carry only a limited amount of passengers. So, for me as a Filipino, trains carrying freights, intermodal, everything that's not passenger type, but a priority should be one of which the projects one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
And here on the other hand, y'all do have a counterpart. Like, I'm not trying to degrade my home countryside, but you guys in here, I know you guys have a commuter rail too, right?
Right. Or technically, in multiple areas, you would have commuter rail. We did have partner rail here in Charleston, and all we have is bus transit. If you want to see commuter rail, you have to go up to
Charleston?
No, you have to go up to either Atlanta, Georgia, or Charlotte, North Carolina to see commuter rail and inner city rail. You got to go up to Dempsey City, or you got to go down to Florida. And we got a train coming.
Silver Meteor,
Nope, freight train.
mixed freight, or just a freight?
Probably a freight. But
This is one thing that I was curious about. Like, I know some of the train groups, the train community groups that you guys have, they do it as if they do it as a hobby. But for me, if I were to kind of put the grasp into train community advocacy, we should take it as a serious route to bring back the rail system, but specifically the passenger ones. What Philippines have that they don't have here, specifically here in Charleston or in any state, was a commuter rail.
no, they do have it in.
They have it in New York, though.
They have it in San Francisco, Los Angeles, our super big city, even in Florida, and in Texas. A lot of our states have it. Even Utah. But you've been to Utah.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, when you went in Utah, did you went to Salt Lake City?
Not really. We just passed through that.
Did you saw the big mountain in Salt Lake City?
I forgot. But we only crossed through. We're almost close. We're almost crossing the Colorado area.
Oh, you were not near Colorado. You would have to go through. You were not even in Nevada. You were in. I
was in Nevada, actually.
You were in Nevada, not Utah. You would have to go through Utah to get to Colorado, which you did not. So you were not even close to
Colorado.
But you were in Grand Canyon area.
Yep, Grand Canyon, yes.
But if you had kept on going inland, or past Las Vegas and kept on heading in, you would have ended up in Utah. So yeah. But the thing is that Nevada don't have commuter rail, only Amtrak. Now, it will with Expressway with Brightline once they build high-speed rail from Victorville, California to Las Vegas. Then it will, but until then, not quite. Or technically, it will be inter-city service. But yeah, now Utah on our hand does have commuter rail system. You might be allowed, but it created now. I know Arizona. You've been to Arizona, have commuter rail in Phoenix.
Yeah.
The big city in Arizona, like the big one.
Now, what do you think will be the takeaways? Like, as train lovers, I know some of your train friends took it as just a hobby.
Some people take it as a hobby. Everyone take it as a livelihood.
Like, example of our good friend from the Charleston Rail Fan group,
Mm-hmm.
who got their chance to be a train conductors or train engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And there's just also one thing that I have in mind when I visualize that before. I'll do it. Like, when trains, like, they also need, like, more, like, propagating, like, to kind of show them to the world. Just like your t-shirt right now, the big boy.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. So, sorry guys if I interrupted by accident.
I know.
What do you think about it?
I think it was pretty good because you're remotely not a part of the live stream, but you kind of became a part of the live stream toward the end.
Yeah, I'm just testing my knowledge about trains anyway, but I think I don't have one.
I know you. Some of the railroads in your country used to buy U.S.-built locomotive, and now they're buying stuff from China.
Oh, they do it in Japan.
Or not China, but Japan, I meant, my bad. Technically, it's because Japan is more experienced in building narrow gauge locomotives.
Mm-hmm.
And you have quit building narrow gauge locomotives, or actually, they have modifications to turn standard gauge locomotive into narrow gauge locomotive, but they have not been doing that lately.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more expensive doing it here in the U.S. So, yeah. I understand why they're buying them from Japan. But I hope everybody liked the video. Please like and subscribe, and I hope everybody have a great Sunday and having a great weekend.
Train coming!
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Ooh.
Sorry, David. I just came in.